So, hello. I'll introduce myself. I'm Kevin Haines from the University of Bristol. My colleague Rina de Vries is from the University of Groningen in the Netherlands. And we've been thinking a lot about international classrooms and intercultural classrooms and how EAP fits into that setting with which you're all very familiar. And what we're talking about today really is this idea about stepping away from English as the sole purpose of what we're doing and developing a greater focus on the intercultural communication and how that works and functions in international classrooms. I'm using as an example the pre-sessional course at the University of Bristol. We've got our learning outcomes here. This was accredited by BALEAP last summer. And what you can see here is that we really focus on skills and strategies. And as you see in point 5, there's a very strong focus on collaborative participation in local and global communities of practice. So we're really focusing on the idea that as students go through their studies and as they go into the university programs we prepare them for, they will be learning how to collaborate. And the point is not so much that they're communicating through English, but they're communicating interculturally and internationally with each other in those academic contexts. And Betty Leask has explained this in her own terms, describing this as internationally informed research into cultural and linguistic diversity. And the word she brings to the table here is that this needs to be purposeful. We might develop the potential for students to go through this kind of learning process, but how do we do this purposefully, and how do we ensure that they're really prepared to be the future global professionals that we actually want them to be? And I think, Rina, you can explain in greater detail how we might do that.
Yeah, so first of all, it's something, those points Kevin discussed, it's really worthwhile. Hardman observed in a publication, very recent publication, that this is also what employers want. They don't say, oh, our graduates lack English skills. No, it's about intercultural agility. How can they communicate effectively and also collaborate with others when solving problems? So next slide, please. So how do we do that? What is needed? And Spencer-Oatey and Dauber, they suggest some. So they say we need to help students move out of the comfort zone and help them acquire new perspectives, and also help them to overcome linguistic and cultural barriers. So it's not just about language, but also overcome academic differences and learn to cope with different communication styles. And also very important to build confidence doing this. So the idea is to create awareness of diversity as a resource instead of a problem, or staying safely in your own silo, but try and reach out and profit from different learning experiences, the different knowledge you bring to the international classroom. Hardman says it's important that we promote interaction, so we move towards a pedagogy of dialogue and help students to enter into dialogue with each other and create that culture of mutually valuing what you bring to the international classroom. And you can achieve this by doing group work and letting students work on authentic tasks, so they work purposefully, collectively towards a goal together, and support each other, and the teacher can be there as another means of support. So this is also what Kevin also described in a publication he published a few years ago. So the idea is that you learn the language by interacting and entering into dialogue about the subject, and you learn the subject because you're interacting using the language.
So exactly, and the point I'd like to make is that you don't necessarily have to create those environments. Those environments are often already there for us, and we can use those environments such as a chemistry lab or an industrial design lab in which students are already interacting within academic contexts to enter into these kind of dialogues with students and with other stakeholders, as we see here.
Yeah, so it's not just about students entering into dialogue, but also the content lecturer with the students instead of the classic lecturer model. It should be maybe more like a group project situation where the content lecturer offers support. And also we read a very interesting article by Wim Penny and a few other authors, how we also should enter into dialogue with ourselves. And with respect to this, we were wondering about CPD. Are we as EAP trained tutors sufficiently equipped to facilitate this process, help students develop those skills? So it's not so much, it's not just on English, but we need to focus maybe increasingly about communication for academic purposes.
So that, I think, is our main point, isn't it?
Yeah.
When we get to the end here, the idea that we need to be more explicit and transparent about what we do, and then we can think about the CPD that can support these kind of processes, and to do this not just with EAP colleagues, but with those other stakeholders with whom we work in our international and intercultural environments. So we'd like to thank you very much for your attention today, and if you have questions, we hope you find a way of getting them to us. Thank you very much.
Thank you.